Du willst wissen, wie.
Competes against BRE for the ultimate title of being a Division 1 champion. Alongside Division 1 player for Fire Hydrant, Pyrus. My name is Travis S1, and welcome to the cast. Pyrus, how are you doing today?
Bro, I'm all fired up. How are you doing today, Travis?
I am doing all right. We're casting D1 finals. Man, this is exciting. the war that we have today is quite literally a monumental war. These teams have faced each other in finals several times before,
A lot of times, yeah.
and this is quite an interesting matchup. I think versus previous seasons too, after doing some like in-depth research, BRE and HD wars, this will probably be nothing like anything we've seen. And in terms of like history for the game, and we'll probably go into that a little bit today in the cast.
100%. So why don't you think this will be like any other war before?
Partly because what we're seeing is quite literally, I would almost define a potential dynasty of a team. It might be a
Oh, a
controversial word.
dynasty. Ooh.
We're might be a controversial word, but really when you look at this information of these teams, what we're looking at is quite unique. Uh, some of my research goes into say looking just at BRE in general, going back to season 16 of MKU, they've earned themselves 2 championship titles in season 17 and 22, and 3 runner-ups in Division 1. Those were in seasons 18, 19, and 21. Just to put this in perspective for our listeners today, this is BRE's 6th final appearance in the last 8 seasons, and they're looking for their 3rd championship title. That is pretty close to what some people may define as a dynasty team in terms of a game. Now, dynasty it's debated, and across whether we're talking about sports or esports, dynasties are very difficult to define and can be interpreted for a lot of people. But the argument can be made today that even just making to finals for BRE or even winning this war gets them one step closer to what could be considered a dynasty. On the other hand, though, High Definition is looking to command the final series. They've faced BRE
100%.
3 times in season 16. Since season 16, those were in 17, 19, and 21, and the only one that they lost was in season 17. A win in finals today means that HD will hold a 3-1 record against BRE in finals, while loss evens the finals series. This is quite literally a historical match for MKU. Like it's nothing short of it. It's very unique in a lot of ways where we could see what some people may consider to be a dynasty, or we can continue to see the hiccup that BRE has against High Definition.
100%. I definitely do think BRE is probably the favored one to win this match just because of their player base, very very high skilled base. But I do think that HD has a lot of players that have been around since like forever. You got Cynda, you got Chibi, you got those type of players who are really really well versed on their game sense and everything. Um, but of course, you can't count out BRE at all, just because they've won so many titles in the past, and that's what's important is about winning the titles in the past.
Absolutely. And as we can see here, we have the bracket right up on the screen for everyone. These Division 1 playoffs. BRE taking 2-1 versus RK, and HD winning 2-1 against ZE. Kind of a couple of interesting notes about those wars. HD's wars were actually rather close. They were able to take the 2 out of 3 against ZE, each of the wars finishing within 25 points. I discussed this in an earlier cast, but ZE is known for keeping matches really close, and they tend to have a pretty successful advantage in those types of wars. So HD taking the win in close matches is a really strong sign. But BRE's weakness this season actually has been in close wars. The one that they lost in semis was only 495 to 489, and I believe their regular season loss was a close match too. Their only regular season loss was a 493 to 491. In your perspective, Pyrus, having how might keeping wars close benefit HD in these finals matches today?
So I mean, keeping things close is honestly just good for your mental because you just always thinking like, hey, like we may have lost, yes, but or like, hey, we may have won, yes, but we're still keeping things really, really close and making sure we are on equal skill level and everything. And that's just like the most important thing to think about because if you're getting blown out, or if you're blowing, other teams like out the water, it's not very engaging for you at all. Like it may seem like it's a waste of time, things like that. By keeping it close, it keeps the players engaged and makes them want to try even more and makes for even better matches in the future. So even if HD or if BRE, loses this first match, as long as it's close, that's what's more important. Is it's a tough loss, not just oh, I just lost by like over 100, 200, and now I have to play the second match, and like now I feel like I'm not as good as the other team. But I don't think either of these teams have that issue at all.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely see that in today's match as we can go over to the lineups here. Here we have BRE versus HD. I believe these are, if, and I can be corrected by our host here, I believe these are just the lineups for match one. For BRE, we'll have LMDS. And if there's any nicknames, also please correct me. We'll have LMDS, Reese, Scartax, T1 Faker. There we have it as Starlo. T1 Zeus, which will be Saru, and Thomas. For HD, we'll have Chibi, Cynda, Dougal, Lee, Ryan, and Varo. And we've heard several of these names before.
Oh yeah, no, these names has been the thing for years and years and years, and these are all very very seasoned and well respected players on this lineup right here. So we should see nothing but top quality Mario Kart gameplay because we are starting right off the bat here with the Sky Garden and the Wario Stadium picks. And I'm interested to see who's the host of this room. If I would have to guess, it would probably be BRE, which is why they're picking Wario Stadium. But you thought that one pick always gets picked. That one, oh, I picked MKS because I didn't have enough time. But we're going to MKS anyway. Interested to see what's gonna happen around in this match. Because MKS is such like a anything can happen type of course just because of the ending cut.
Absolutely. And we're starting to get right underway. We'll take a peek at Cynda's perspective. We also have Thomas's today. And yeah, well, kind of definitely an interesting track as you mentioned. And from my perspective, probably one that I would not have actually imagined to see right out the gate.
No,
Something
I
to keep
mean,
it.
I do think it's good for them just to at least for for both these teams to just get it out the way because this track is so volatile and anything can happen and it's better just to just get out the way real quick instead of just getting constantly redded unfortunately which is not a bad thing just because it's so easy to catch up on this course like I've said and it's not uncommon for shocks to be pulled at all on this track. So maybe we could see Cynda, bagging and maybe pulling the shock for his team. Unfortunately, getting the blue shell. And since he's holding it, we do have to assume that HC is in first.
Looking like
One,
looking like
yeah,
most of HD is going to be black Yoshis and black Birdos today, just from looking at this perspective here. So perhaps the black Birdo, yes, is BRE, that is Zeus there. So
BRE's billing up all. That's such a good stop by Thomas right there. He's keeping all HC in the back, and I do think this would be a really really good race for BRE as long as things go exactly how it's going right now. He's
absolutely.
giving up at least the top two for BRE because we have to assume the green Yoshis are them. About to be top three if he's able to red Lee out of third. Oh, but he's hitting
Oh,
the
hitting the
banana.
banana in the cut.
Oh, his
The rain
boomerang
goes
his
forward,
teammate.
hits the teammate. Unfortunate team kill right there. Top 2, 4, 5 for Bree. So still a pretty good race to begin
Really
the
good race,
show.
yeah. That I mean, for an accidental track pick, that you take that if you BRE. That probably would have been better than them picking Mario Stadium. So that's really good for them.
And something to note as we are casting finals, we have the new rule set from this season, there will be no repicks across all matches. So a repick does equal a penalty. So we will not see MKS again for the entire, hopefully again for both teams for the entire.
For the sake of our mentality, it's good we don't see him. Yes,
Yeah,
again.
absolutely. And you may see, and it does shift the strategy quite a bit. What we'll see here in finals, where maybe some teams hold on to their best tracks for later down the road, and we may see some of those more common HD or BRE tracks later in the tournament rather than earlier. As we go on to Tokyo Blur, BRE leading 51-31 into race 2.
I do think it's an interesting strategy to also, pick your good track picks, early on because it's so important to get that lead, that one match over the other buffer where it's like, okay, we just need win one more match and we just have to just outplay the other team on their best courses, which is still entirely doable. So it's all about the perspective they want to take it as.
Absolutely, we see the lag trail happen, slowing down, and we'll see quite a bit of this in today's match where if with the players that are in the back, they are going to try to get their. You'll see them like here. Thomas is going to go for the coins here, and perhaps stay in the back potentially for quite a long time going into lap 3. Perhaps going for the dodge and making their way in their push in lap 3, as we'll start seeing the braking right here at this box as an example.
100%. I mean, this track is like at the same time, yes, it's really good to just be in the back and gain your items, get your coin. The track is also very very hard to catch up on at the same time, just because of the lack of shortcuts. Because every shortcut in this track can be used by just a mini turbo and not like a mushroom. So we get to see a lot of these people in the front. They're gonna stay for the front for the entire rest of the race. Because BRE is holding this blue, we have to assume that a lot of BRE is in the top 3 spots. But HD, they're pulling up a real good fight right now. Hopefully, a shot comes in super soon, but it doesn't look like that at all. And it looks like HD is going to hold down these middle spots. With BRE probably getting like top 2, bottom 2. Top 3 for BRE. Oh, but HC getting that bottom 2 is really bad for them. I think BRE is starting to, have a lot more of a breakaway than HD is willing to let them, just because the plus 20 in the first race was so important for them. And now, this is probably like a plus, 16 race for them. And now they're widening that gap even more.
Off to a hot start for BRE, plus 18 on Tokyo. So definitely a moment where HD needs to start turning these tides quickly, as we see. I believe this is BRE's point of view, trying what they're going to be picking here, and looking like the common Sky Garden pick here, as they named themselves last season.
I
Very
I know a lot of teams are not a big fan of Sky Garden, and I think that works in HD's favor just because they really like Sky Garden. They really like tracks like Music Park and like Waluigi Pinball, things like that, where like there's tracks that like they could really excel at that they know other people hate, and that's like a really really good strong suit for them. So hopefully they'll be able to win this race a lot more you know than the last 2 races they were playing.
and is in fact Sky Garden. As now we'll see kind of how the tide shift. We see a burnout right in front of Cynda. Kind of kind of unfortunate to burn out, but probably not the worst on this track. There is a big cut at the end.
100%. And I think Cynda is just gonna hold down the fort for HD, even though he is surrounded by BRE. It is so easy to hit a group of the other team as long as you keep getting items like a banana, where they're not gonna pass this guy like with a banana and he has 8 coins. Like it's just hard to really get him out of first. But at the same time, he does need some support in the top spots right here, because yes, it's easy to hold first against the other team. It's also very very easy to get hit out of first because of the multiple reds that get thrown and thrown and thrown and thrown, and you're not guaranteed to get a second item every single time. Oh, we see an early shock and an early blue shell too. With HD dodging into first place, top two for HD right now. This is really, really good for them.
Looking more like top three. BRE taking the blue shell. That might have been a good. That might have been it looked like it was possibly a targeted blue shell. Uh, definitely, definitely favoring here. See a little bit of the smart steering in action, getting the air on the cloud there.
Oh, dude, it's because of Lee just being so far ahead in first. He's able to pull a star in third place, and that is really, really bad for HD because they lost their top three really, really fast.
Looking like a 2-3 from Bree, potentially a 1-4 is what looks like for HD. 1-4-5 still not bad, but 9-10-11 does hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's just like barely a win. I think that if anything, that's like a +4 for them. It's not really good for them. They're really, really falling behind, and I think they need to come up with like a strategy. Like, hey, what track pick can we burn right now that will let us, stay close, in the match, but still, still allow us to come back later in this, the next two matches.
142-104 up 38 right now for BRE. We have PPS and BDD back with the original 48 tracks in the game prior to the booster course pass. So always cool to show a little bit of the love to the OG tracks as we have BDD right out the gate here. In one
BRE,
of the
yeah,
matches.
BRE is pretty, very, very good on Bone Dry. This is like if I would say this would probably be like their track, out of any other track, in the game. Like this is what I associate BRE with is, kicking butt on this track, you know. So we'll see if this is able to translate into this race. As far as they've been playing right now, I really do think it's going to be really easy for them to gain even more of a lead on HD.
Absolutely. HD looking to be top three. A reminder that Black Birdo is in fact the other team. And slowing down here to
With the
red, the other
double
team,
reds.
going
That's so
wide.
toxic, but that's so good. Like that's things people need to do, just to ruin other people's races because it does work in the long term.
Absolutely. Always a good reminder for those players that are still learning the competitive offense is a really important tool, and you'll see that across today's matches is people will go back and you may see the slow reds and
The
trying to
slow
force
reds,
people to their
people,
stars like what we just see here.
yeah, people, with plants, they just slow down. Yep, with the star, they're just slowing down, make sure they get hit because, losing 3 coins every time you get hit is such a detrimental thing about, this game is coins are so important and losing coins is so annoying because it can be really hard to get back, but it can also be really easy to get back. We have Thomas pulling the shot, which is so important for BRE right now. Um, yeah, they're just gonna chain. I can't imagine they probably didn't have like the best like strategy to use it. They just wanted to just use it real fast so HD doesn't get a second shock. And I think as far as HD, it's just Lee and maybe Cynda up there, if I'm not mistaken. But BRE is taking out the pack right now. Bombs and greens and just so many pack items that are really good in keeping them back.
Certainly looking like there were 2 through 5 just the last time we checked it. Thomas gets fired out, takes out Lee though as a result. Gonna get 8th here. That still looks to be a pretty good race for BRE. In fact, it is 2 through 5, 7,
Oh,
8, bottom 4 for HD.
yeah. Chibi's the only person who was able to, save HC in that race. But even then, that's like at least like a -20 race, maybe even 30 race for HD right there. That's really, really unfortunate for them.
Even in a lot of these even in a lot of these high level wars, we don't see many. There's only a few races that often determine a match, and those races are coming rather early for BRE, which is definitely coming into their favor. Even being up plus 56 while still doable for HD, this is a tall order at this moment.
100%, because realistically, gaining 56 points over the other team would probably take around like 4 or 5 races to accomplish, without any like big upset wins on tracks, and that's still like a hard thing to do against the D1 team that you're trying to beat. Still doable though, so we'll see. I don't know if I like this track pick for the for the sake of HD, just because it is so hard to maintain top spots on this track where you're it's really just chaotic. Like it's sort of like MKS, but even worse, where it's like there's no shortcuts on this track. So if you get hit in the beginning, it is like pretty much over for you.
Right there, we see one of the newest strats to the track as well, where using the smart steering to the advantage does kind of maintain the spots, but takes away from drafting potential. We can see the draft coming a little later, which is honestly fascinating to see higher level players do these strats.
No, 100%. I mean, with high level play, you need to do pretty much every strat there is in the book to maintain your top spots, because you will get passed very easily if you aren't the fastest driver in this room. Just because there are so many strong players in this room who know how to drive, who know how to have game sense, and who know how to recognize situations where they need to do a certain thing to win. And that's what separates a lot of D1 teams from D2 teams even. And we see a lot of HD trying to catch up to the top spots, but BRE is able to just hold them back. Red do go real quick out of this glider section, and this is a really good race for BRE.
BRE held a lot of top spots in that one. That is a top 6. That is not something you see every day. Not just generally in wars, not in D1, and not even much on Primetime. That is a really good war, or really good race, rather, for BRE, and that gives them a commanding lead after 5 of being up by 96.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where we're approaching halftime pretty much for this match, and being down almost 100 is it's a scary look. I will say it's I personally think that HD should probably look towards figure out what they're doing wrong for the rest of the races, because I don't see them coming back from such a huge deficit. And then
Twisted Mansion might help a little bit, but may not do much. The drafter here is maybe a solid pick for those bottom 6 spots. Perhaps the idea is getting a shroom as well to do the cut and get out to an early lead.
I mean, even with that, like, BRE is probably going to be pulling shrooms in this 4, 5, 6 position, where they're still going to be able to keep out the top 3 spots. I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas pulls a shroom here. Yeah, and they're just going to be able just to hold these spots for pretty much for the rest of the race. Oh, but yeah, that's one of those things where those bombs really kill you if you're not ready for them.
A bump that personally has taken me hostage several times in my wars as well.
It's one of those things where you just forget about them, and then you get bumped. You're like, oh my, like that. It's pretty bad. Like, yeah, that just ruins your race pretty much.
BRE slowing down there for the doubles here. Now, Thomas has a dodge here in the back and 10 coins. They're trailing a bomb there, and BRE trailing a bomb there in what is probably now 11, maybe using that for the other team.
100%, and we do have at least Cynda, fighting for this top spots, because Varo is in first, so hopefully gonna be able just to horn this guy if he catches up enough. I think he's gonna have to just horn. Oh, unfortunate, he's not able to protect Varo out of first, but triple greens in first is still really good for him, and he should be able to keep first for the rest of the race as long as his team is there to support him.
So it looks like they got just looking at the mini map here, they've got a couple of really good top spots right now. And it looks like BRE fighting in the back. Look, probably searching for the beloved Shock. Perhaps there is a blue though, and Cynda is going to have to take it.
Yeah, he's gonna have to take it with at least HD, coming back to support him. Top 2, 4, 5, still really, really good. And they just have to get Scar Tax out of third right here. And as long as they communicate properly, unfortunately. Oh, no, the top 4 for HD. This is really, really good for them.
And the back red and backfire doesn't look like it looked like the back red connected, but just some lag things. There is a dodge, BRE
Man.
dodging.
That completely just took away everything HD worked for the entire race, and that's a winning race for. I honestly, I actually do think it's still a winning race for HD, even though they lost first. Yeah, bottom 3 for BRE. Not much of a winning race for HD, but it's better than just getting stomped on like the last few races.
Absolutely.
Hopefully HD is able to, secure first for the next few races because that's what's been killing them. They're just not getting first.
And we are 6 races in. That is HD's first winning race so far. So quite a tall order, definitely a tall order now. Only up as BRE is up 92 with 6 to go. Well, maybe perhaps still thinking on the same lines of the drafter of TM definitely helped. Perhaps going down that route with Dolphin BRE still picking Pinball, which a controversial track in the game, but a very established runner, and this we will
I think
definitely see why here.
I think it's a really good pick for BRE just because they know that HD really likes this track, and it's not the track they wanted for this specific, position that HD is in. So like, hey, let's use this track against them. Let's pick their really good track first for their spots, even though it's not really good for them. And that's like one of those things where it's gonna travel on for the next couple matches because they're not able to pick this for the rest of the set, I will say.
And perhaps one of the more interesting things about this track is what we just saw, the cannon glider there. This is one of those tracks where technically you could say there is a cannon set, but the cannon set is not close to the glider. So we won't see as many people like pulling the shock right at that set. It will take much longer on this track. Kind of a unique track compared to like your cannon sets of DK Summit or perhaps Maple Treeway or DKM. So very interesting pick here.
And I do think that BRE is able to hold down a lot of these spots right here. HC is probably gonna have to look towards, getting the shock and getting, his dodges because it is looking pretty, spread out in the regards of, where people are in relations to each other.
Looking like definitely holding a lot of the top spots for BRE just by looking at the mini map. And HD looking like they're making comeback bottom 2 right now for BRE. Perhaps bottom 3, maybe bottom 4 actually. Just looking at that, haven't seen behind Thomas here in a moment using the bill right away.
He's just looking just to catch up because there's at least as far as our knowledge, there's no shock in play just because the pack is so close together in the back, and they're just okay. Since there's no shock, we're just gonna go ahead and go support our teammates and try to take out their top spots right now, which is what Thomas is looking to do right now.
Guys, coins up, catching up here.
Oh, but BRE is getting hit out of these top spots pretty easily right now. Google slowing down, getting fired off. This is really good for HD right now. The only thing that would complete it is a shock, but I don't think that's in play.
Perhaps no shock. I've seen a lot of people. Oh, there it is.
Shock, but couldn't even tell you who shocked that was. They dodged equally as much people from both teams. So it's just to see who benefits the most. Thomas getting the bill with Cynda also getting the bill, and the bill's such a good pull for this position. And I think this is going to go towards HD. I think this race is a HD winning race. Yep.
Yeah, 2 through 6 and 9. Great race for HD. Those are the races they need right now.
Yeah,
But
I think it's a little bit too late though, just because like, yeah, you're chipping away at the such a big point lead, but at the same time, like you need like to start getting first because they're still not getting first, and that's what's important in these type of scenarios.
absolutely. And again, as you mentioned, one of the more well-known HD tracks is off the board for the rest of finals, which is perhaps not the greatest thing for HD in the long run. Seeing a Moonview Highway and a Dolphin Shoals on the board now. Interesting BRE continuing to pick with the runners, and we still see HD picking these drafting tracks. Going on to Dolphin. 324 to 250, BRE leading after 7. And this is an interesting track. I think a lot of people have a lot of conversations I've had around the community Pyrus has been how much it feels like this track has changed since Wave 4, especially with people talking about the meta changes here. And how some of the strats, from what I've heard, feel a little bit more. It almost feels like more difficult to pull off, and will probably. And from your perspective, how has the meta changed this track to you?
I mean, in regards to the meta change, I do think it's a lot harder to, catch up if you don't pull a bill. Just because it the meta change has really favored, you know, going forward than just completely backing up and just dropping. But at the same time, it is still completely possible just to bag and get the bill, as we see. But I would say it probably went off course in the sense of like the meta change, and then now it's like returning back to how it was before, where it's a lot, it's still completely possible to still win this race and still pull a bill back. Um, but I do think it's pretty much pretty good for both teams right here.
As we see Cynda here getting redded, looking like BRE holding a lot of the top spots right now. Perhaps HD is looking for that shock. Definitely holding at least what seems to be on the screen here, close to a top 4 for BRE. Catching up here at
Yeah,
Cynda.
no, this is unfortunate for HD right now. I don't think there's gonna be a shock in play, and buy these items. It seems like it's gonna be pretty much BRE holding down these top spots, for free, without any contention whatsoever from HD, and I think it's gonna stay like that for pretty much the rest of the war. I think if anything, I think BRE won this by like 10 points. Oh no, never mind. They definitely won it. They probably won this around 10 points, and I just don't think it's possible for HC to really do much for the rest of the war.
Almost kind of like starting to eye matches 2 and 3 now for HD. And comeback is still rather doable. They're only down 86, but it is we are still talking like D1, some of the best teams there is in the league. So the comeback is just straight up not easy, and will in fact be quite a hurdle to get over here for HD. So maybe they start eyeing those next potential matches and say and looking towards match 2 and 3 to try to reverse the course and win the D1 championship
And I
as
do
we
think
go on to Moonview.
I do think it's good for BRE to keep spamming these picks that are HD is comfortable at, because they're not going to be able to use this next match, and they're just going to keep wasting these track picks for HD. Um, I honestly would like to see them pick like Music Park and like try to get their Piranha Plant pick out of the way, just because I feel like BRE is in a comfortable enough position to still win the war and still pick the tracks that HD is good at.
Absolutely. And definitely what many would consider to be a hard runner in the game, and obviously it is a hard runner. This track is now I haven't seen a lot of this track actually in D1, but I have seen in wars that I've played in several wars that I have seen. This track is just notorious for that player in first can just run away, and there could be a potential breakaway here on this track. Looking like a
100%.
really close pack though right now here on Moonview.
100%, but I do think that BRE is probably more suited on this track just because they've been dominating these first place positions a lot easier than the HD has. But I think Chibi isn't first. Um, so I think he's able just to hold down for because Chibi is really good at being first, even though his the rest of the team is back in the back and completely not anywhere near him. So I think Chibi's able to hold down first for the rest of the race, but at the same time, I do think that BRE is going to be really, really close behind them.
And Thomas there getting involved, either getting blued or being involved with the blue shell. Looking to be pretty good for what seems to be BRE right now. That I think fourth is actually the highest HD spot right now. Oh, and getting planted right there. The
Good
backfire
shock
and the
coming.
shock.
I think that was a really good shock for HD, but it might be a little bit too late for anything to change because these boost panels allow for such an easy catch up. And I think that was still a winning race for BRE. Yeah, top two uh, wasn't that was more of a mixed race, which is still a winning weight race for BRE because that means that HD is not gaining points on them, and that's more important than just winning a race completely.
Absolutely. It was a +8 in the favor of BRE. They are now up to 94 entering into race 10. 416 to 322. Seeing the Waluigi Stadium pick here from BRE as HD is still going with that PPS pick now. And the one Mushroom Gorge. We'll see if history repeats itself here on Primetime with with the MKS pick from the first race and perhaps the Mushroom Gorge pick again here. We'll see. Looks like the randomizer decides that it actually wants to pick one of the 11 tracks that people all agreed upon. So here we are on Waluigi Stadium, a track that benefits a lot of the bottom spots, more so because you start with such a large amount of coins, a good number of coins here in the back, and honestly, hard to find them around this course.
No, 100%. Like this track is so focused on like driving your lines, making sure you're not going completely wide because the mud allows for such a wide turn around certain turns. But it does this track does benefit a lot from being in the front and staying in the front because right now Thomas is planning on doing that where he's able just to run away for free. Like he has no competition whatsoever, and he's probably going to stay first for the rest of the race. With BRE, especially like in second and third, I he has nothing to worry about.
Absolutely, we see a top two right now from BRE. That is again those black Yoshis there are in fact HD as far as I remember. They're in third. Top 2-4 for BRE, getting rid of the green, throwing it forward to his teammates right behind, and
He's
pulling the
doing
horn.
the horn double protection. That's like you're in heaven right now. Like he's able just to focus completely on himself right now. And driving this course with like high precision is such like a satisfying feeling too. where I do think it like boosts his motivation a lot more to beat HD even more. So I think this is super super good for BRE. The shot coming, I don't think it really does too much to impact anything in these top spots, and
It
I was
it
just
didn't
gonna run with this.
it didn't really look like anybody dodged on the mini map. So this perhaps a BRE shock, trying to maybe perhaps a neutral shock.
Yeah, 100%. BRE is able just to still hold down this at least a top two, maybe even a top three. Yeah, no blue, no target shock, not anything for Thomas, and that's exactly how you like to see it.
A beautiful front run here for Thomas, and the second shot coming after on lap 4, 1-3-4-5 for BRE. I'm actually almost close to certain to believe that this is almost sealed, considering that they were up only 94.
I definitely do think this has been sealed for a long time. And you're just being shown like how much BRE is continuing to care because it can continuously just front running for free, and it's so given to them. It's to the point where HD needs to reconvene and figure out what they need to do better. Um, because if this happens again next match, it's gonna look pretty sad, just because you like you said, HC does like keeping things up, close and everything, and the opposite is happening right now, where
Just
it's a complete blowout over or by over 100 so far.
just established a dominant front presence from BRE up 108. And the thing that's the most important here is HD has only won 2 of these races. It's just been BRE on top for the
Right.
entirety of match
And
1.
those HD winning races have been like less than 10, less than 20. Like, and it's been the complete opposite where, BRE won a race by 40, won a race by 30, won a race by 35, plus 36, whatever, things like that, where it's like, yes, HD did win 2 races, but did they really win, or did they just prevent a loss?
Exactly. And seeing a little bit of bagging here on Gorge, probably again, just perhaps this is maybe the time for BRE to really like lock down some track picks, and maybe for the next race, perhaps just get another one out of the books and prevent HD from having another track pick in finals.
100%. We have Thomas in the back right here. Hopefully, gonna just bag, just have some fun with it. Pull the blue was really good because HE is in first, and even though HD was looking forward to finally running a track, that's not gonna happen. Oh, he pulls
Oh,
the
the
horn.
lucky horn pull though. That always,
It doesn't mean too much with this red shell. It's a second. That's one of those things where it's
you know what? I've
um
actually never seen that happen before, where you fall just between the two mushrooms right
it,
there.
no, hey, that's interesting to see. And Cynda just losing all 10 of his coins just like that.
Kind of
uh,
just only Gorge things, honestly.
Yeah, Gordon.
And
Yeah, it's got the unique physics you're not used to. And yeah, he's just gonna have to build. You just need to catch up because you're gonna be pulling shrooms regardless, and you just need to make sure you're able to. Unfortunately, pulling the star, so he's just gonna have to hope for either shrooms this set, or he's gonna have to hopefully make the cut with the star. Oh, and he's
absolutely,
able to shroom easily. That's easy cut for him. But still, seventh place is not something you wanted after everything you went through. BRE getting top 2-4.
and yeah, just an absolutely dominant performance right away, and just honestly rather impressive showing from BRE. And the mindset now for HD, as I alluded earlier, is it's matches 2 and 3 now, and it like next match is essentially do or die, and the win in next match can allow to extend this series a little bit. But I do have a note here definitely in favor for BRE if I can find it real quick.
Of
And
course.
definitely showing this, or definitely saying this in the last 4 MKU seasons, because looking through the archives of MKU, the team that has won match 1 has gone on to winning Division 1 3 times. And that is it is very much against the favor of HD, but it does say that Bree has quite the advantage now. Having match 1 gives you a lot of confidence going into match 2, basically, is what that means. So HD has to secure a comeback. Now, we do see a lot of D1 end up in 3 matches, but there was one instance, and it was HD going against BRE, in which it was finished in 2.
100%. I'm interested to see if there's probably going to be any lineup changes for HD to just substitute out anyone who's not really doing too hot in these matches, um, or just like shake up the team chemistry, because chemistry is just so important in regards, and maintaining your mentality in this, because I'm sure some people can be really tilted if they lose by over 100 and they have to play again with the same exact lineup and team, and it just becomes all downhill from there.
BRE at least top 2 right here. Do you imagine seeing BRE making any changes? Even
BRE, it's one of those things where it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They have not shown each other, like shown any instance of like, oh yeah, this is like a weakness in our defense that we probably should change, just in case HD comes with a better offense. It's been such a blowout to the point where even if they start losing races, it like they are so good at winning races too. So I don't think there's any change needed for BRE whatsoever.
I would be inclined to agree with you there. There is no reason to go out and change what is a already really good team, and hopes that you can win a back-to-back season. That was a nice back.
I love seeing backs like that. I love when people, completely, go out of their line to hit someone, because like at least for the person who got hit, like you're not expecting that, or even if you aren't expecting that, it's hard to avoid, just because of how lag works in this game. And it may seem like, oh, they just lagged off the course, but no, really, they went out of their way to hit you, and that's just something that's just you have to swallow. Wanting that first place. But
Seeing a little bit of in-div action here on Primetime Finals. That's how you know the chemistry for BRE is actually real good right now. They had a great top 2 break there.
yeah,
And
or 3 people working 100 with HD not even, breaking 90, I believe, from any individual person. Yeah, Avaro being their high scored with 86, that's not something you should be proud of, honestly. We just like to see how they're able to come back even stronger.
win by 134. And yeah, this will be an uphill battle for HD now. Definitely will be interested in seeing some of those lineup changes, as you mentioned here. Perhaps we will see them. And yeah, that concludes match 1. Again, definitely in the favor of BRE right now as we continue. An opportunity for back-to-back championships today. That is impressive on its own as well. So yeah, I think we will be on a bit of a break here before the beginning of the next match, which I believe will be starting at 00.
Yeah, in 11 minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. And I believe we will be right back.
Welcome back, Mario Kart gamers. We are going to start match 2 of HD BRE real soon. We for at least for the last match, it was complete blowout by BRE, and I would like to see how HD decides to respond the second match, because it's real important to keep it close, at least in finals. Because that can really, carry on to your next season, if you lose by a lot like they did first match. So, hopefully they'll be able to keep up their work.
Absolutely. And D1, obviously, as you know, Pyrus is it's a hard division. There's just nothing short of it, too. And especially with how good Briare, BRE, that's what I was about to say, BRE, uh, especially with how good BRE has not only been this season, but has just competing against what has been a team that has been so dominant the last few seasons is impressive. And I'm sure I'm sure Fire Hydrant, as the team that you were on this season, has definitely probably expressed some stuff like that of how good this team how good these, not only BRE is, but also how good HD is and the potential that these two have
No,
to win
100%.
one.
I mean, at least I don't play this game as much anymore. But when I do play it like they like HD, BRE teams, any team in Division 1 pretty much, like they really give like a lot of oppressive nature towards, like as like me as a player, just because I'm so like far behind in certain aspects and so like on par in certain aspects. It really opens my eyes to be like, oh, I am not like on the skill level as like Cynda or Chibi or Dugo or Thomas or like anyone who's really competing in these divisions. Like it is really night and day when it comes to Division 1 in like any other division, just because being the best at one game is so much better than just being decent or good at the game.
And for kind of a player like myself who has been more so around the D13 to D15 range the last few seasons, it's always eye-opening to watch really really high level Mario Kart. And for those that are also around that same division as me, seeing a Division 1 war and being able to break down what's happening and communicate with high level players, as it is really eye opening to see what is being offered, especially when you get to watch the two best teams that made it to finals, right? So I see a lot. So taking a look at this gives not only me a great opportunity to see how I can improve myself, but I think that a lot of players around my division do the same and are impressed by some of the things that they can learn and take away from a Division 1 war. So a great first match. We're getting ready to start here. Match 2, High Definition should be the host here. So we're getting ready. No repicks from match 1.
And that's something that's so important to keep in mind, because they're not HC's not able to pick Music Park anymore, Waluigi Stadium. A lot of their good tracks that like they rely on, like that's just gone. And that's so important for them, because that's what they rely on to gain a lead against BRE, especially where you just got beaten to the ground last match. Like that's something you just need to keep on. But hopefully HC is able to bring it back this match.
Absolutely, and the PPS track pick that they've been trying to pick the entire time last time, or for at least half of the war, they finally get to start this match. Could be a good sign for them. Hopefully, some momentum to
And
go
I
in their
I
favor.
think this track pick will probably decide if HD is ready to for this rematch or not. Because if BRE wins this track pick, I don't think it's going to be looking too pretty for them.
And looking like already just from this point of view, BRE off to a pretty solid start here. HD taking getting hit a couple of times, ringing out an
Top
eye
three for
an eye
BRE
for
right now. Oh, top two. I don't know what happened to the other guy, but top two, and that's still pretty good for BRE right now with the horn. Oh, top
that looks like
four, I
top
believe.
4.
Yeah, this is not looking too good, and HC needs to do something about this real fast, because if they BRE wins this first match, they're gonna get right back into the groove they were in the first match, and it's gonna be pretty much impossible to really do anything about it.
Using the horn right there, pulls the shroom in second, and looking just to shroom up here and be a little closer. Definitely still holding on to the top 4. Looking at the mini map here, it looks like top 4 and then some here.
100%. This is looking like super grim. Because if a shock was gonna happen, it would have happened already. I do think. Um, Holding on to the last stretch is not, usually a good idea. And now they have this horn to break this blue for Zeus, and I think this is indicative of what's gonna happen in the next couple races.
And another horn. Thomas
That's like,
pulls 3
I think,
horns.
yeah,
back
three
in this
horns
race.
this race. That's insane.
Not only is that a good start, but almost feels like that luck is on your side a little bit. I mean, a lot of skill in this game, but you can't forget about those luck factors that do happen. A top 3 start for BRE. Good start for them in hopes to seal the deal in match 2.
Yeah, this is As I said, I do think the first, like, that first race was like pretty indicative of what's going to happen for the rest of the war. Just because it wasn't the worst race that could have happened for HD, I do think this next race will probably be like, okay, if we don't answer back, like it's completely over because two races in a row where you just get beat is not usually, a good sign for the rest of the war, especially after losing, their first match.
And looks like HD picking the Berlin track, whereas BRE looking to pick some. Definitely went with a couple of different track picks, but they're going to get RWS here. Probably the most common and infamous runner of this game.
Yeah, that was
And
it's really good for BRE if they're able to, at least execute the plan, which is, just hold first, which is so easy on this track. Um, Honestly, like they should have no problem keeping first at all.
absolutely. And we'll see that right away.
Into
Trailing.
the trail, yep. There's nothing you can do about that. And now
Oh,
it's just this one these two HD members up here who hopefully can pull like triple greens or triple bananas. Pretty good, but you're losing a lot of time as it is, and now it's easy top three breakaway for BRE right now.
absolutely. They're
Oh, he's pulling another horn, Thomas, with four horns in two races already. Yeah, running two people with that red, this is really good. They just need to get Cynda out of here, and after that, it's completely easy for them.
absolutely. And perhaps we
Yeah.
start seeing a horn counter for Thomas this war, because that would be perhaps pretty interesting to see how many horns he does end up pulling. Looking like he's tried to pull the trail out to get Cynda there, but will instead have it ghosted.
Oh, the triple shrooms banana is so important because he's able just to, control the pack right now. With the plant right behind him, some real porn. Yep, gonna try to banana snipe him real fast. He's gonna get horned by his own teammate, unfortunately.
And that blue is going to go for BRE. And
This
yeah,
is looking I still think it's looking pretty good for BRE, even though HD is now, still in first. Ah, there's a lot of HD back here at the same time.
yeah, we definitely see a lot of the top spots again from BRE, and almost looking like it is tough to answer, especially after that first match. A Such an important match. I think that was like two HD members that just got bombed there,
Yeah.
and I think getting hit at the line actually got a lot
Oh,
of
that was
people
top.
mad.
Oh, BRE was actually in first. Yeah, that's. I do think. I think that's it for this entire match. I doesn't seem like HD has any answers for BRE and how oppressive they've been.
That has been the story of finals, is just continuing to hold first and showing how important it is to run, and having the protection behind first has just made it very difficult for HD to break through. And even when they have the opportunity to do it, BRE always finds an answer. So it's been difficult for HD, already down 40 after two races. Even again, it's still early in match 2, but we are still looking at a D1 team nonetheless. It
Yeah.
is always hard to beat D1, even if you are D1.
And
And
I think this is they picked this track just to tilt HD a little bit more. Just because they know like this track is so hard to like coordinate anything on. Like, good luck trying to outplace our individual skilled players.
really good for the inside drifting player that is up there in first, that has won both races, by the way, but they did burn at the beginning from what it looks like. So could also be that in the play here.
100%. It's gonna just be chaotic for the first couple seconds of these races, until it defines itself a little bit more. Because Thomas getting hit, yeah, doesn't that may seem like it's a big deal, but like at the end of the day, it's really not. Just because the track is so easy just to catch up on, even though there's no shortcuts per se on this track, it is so easy to just pull a star and just ram through people. Um, just because it's just a straightaway and just turns.
Absolutely. You see Cynda here holding second. You also, for the viewers, you may also see that there is a little bit of a break in the bottom four. This is because there is often a shock on this track, as odd as it is. Uh, we do tend to see it, and there is a possibility that we could see one get pulled. So people will hold some of those bottom spots for quite a little bit of time here. Cynda takes first after reading out uh, probably a BRE member. Couldn't remember which BRE member it was. And there is the
Shock coming
shock.
to play. I believe this is BRE shock, or if anything, it was whoever shock because everyone and their mama dodged. HD is gonna hold on to this top four for HD. It is really good for them. With Cynda getting some good pack controlling items. Just drop this bomb. Good luck. Oh, not hitting anyone, unfortunately. I think it's a HD top 4, 6 right now. Um,
Absolutely looking to be pretty good. It looking to be
oh,
really good.
this is looking like a top 6. Oh, never mind. Dugo unfortunately getting hit out. I think this is oh.
Oh, unfortunately hitting the truck there at the end. Top 4, 7-11 for HD. That is a good answer and a really good result there for HD. Needing to minimize the damage early.
100%. And that's really, I mean, that shows the like BRE kind of got backfired upon with their track pick just because they were like, let me just pick Toad's Turnpike. Let's troll them a little bit. Let's try to make them tilt it. But like HD is pretty good with their odd track picks. So they're just gonna, yeah, let's move on to our own track picks now. Type of vibe now.
That negated the RWS race, and that is HD's best race of the day. So maybe a little bit of momentum to start building. That's what HD needs if BRE, if they want to come back, is building that momentum as we go on to what 200cc players like myself may refer to as just cows. So 130 to 116 after 3. And interesting track here. I This is not one that I personally see a lot in 150. So definitely interesting to see what might happen here.
I do think this track is pretty oftenly picked in 150, like relatively, because there's so many tracks in this game, it's hard to really see like a track every race. But Mumu is one of those like it's uncommon, but it's not that uncommon where like people do pick this for a majority of reasons. And its shortness being a real advantage towards some people, which is why you probably see BRE picking it because it's not really much you can do, team wise when you're on this track. It's really just a race to the finish.
It looks like HD holding first. It is a very close pack. There are two bombs on in play at that moment. And this is just the nature of this track, and that's a Thomas looking to slow with that bomb, probably trying to hit Cynda here.
Well, right now, I believe that's a top 3 5 for HD right now, which is looking pretty scary if you're BRE because you've won so many races in a row, but like now you're kind of letting it slip beyond your grasp, and that's not something you want to do for HD because HD will run with this really easily.
BRE getting another spot there, but from the look
Right.
of the map, it is looking really good. This is going to be a good race for HD right here. And that probably secures top 3, maybe
Top 3, yeah,
4.
maybe a top 4.
Top
Top
3
3
5.
5. You take that. You completely take that. We're looking more towards like an even war right now. and that's something you love to see if you're HD. You love to see it even more right now because that means you're able just to compete with them. Now you just have to start winning, and I can definitely see them doing that next race.
HD takes an 8-point lead. This is their first lead of the day. Up 168 to 160 over BRE. And this is what HD wants to see. Is as mentioned at the beginning of this cast, they really so far keeping it close does give what we have seen is that gives the advantage to HD. So the hope is HD can keep it close and perhaps sneak this win across and create that potential match 3 as we go on to Electrodrome.
I would say Electrodrum's probably like a HD favored app. BRE knows how to play this track really well, yes, but HC is pretty particularly good at like pulling shots and pulling items that they need. So I wouldn't be surprised if HD, comes in with a savior, shock and they boom 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 top 5 and now they're winning and now they're gonna win the entire series type vibe.
Absolutely. Still holding on to top 3. We'll see this get broken here by a couple players because of the drafts. And almost sniped Reese there from Cynda, but just a little bit to the left. We'll definitely see a black Yoshi all the way in the back. That probably searching for the shock. And they are definitely far back there. So nobody from BRE looking to go for that either. So maybe the shock does advantage HD here for sure.
I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it does really depend if HD can even pull the shock, just because pulling shock is not as guaranteed as it was before. It with the meta changes, it really, in my personal opinion, it's become a lot more like unpredictable when you can pull shock. Yes, there still is like the general statistics and like, yeah, I'm most likely going to pull shock here. It is still a lot harder than it is usually to pull shock. So it really depends on, if the Mario Kart gods allow it.
Absolutely. HD looking to be in a lot of trouble. They were in a ton of bottom spots just a moment ago from looking at the mini map. It was looking like they were bottom 5 and looking to be real good for BRE. So they are going to need a shock. And it definitely looking like there's a break from 7th to 8th a little bit here.
I mean, first place is HD right now with, I believe it 1-3 for HD, but with the shock not coming, I don't think this is the race that HD is looking forward to. But things can always change with this blue coming in at the last second. We'll see if it's going to affect anything. It is going to, with BRE getting first place, Cynda getting second.
And perhaps a 2-3. That shock just a little tardy. 2-3-5-7. Not bad.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that is potentially closer to even. We'll
yeah,
see.
definitely potentially good for BRE. Probably like a +2 if anything. So you definitely take that for both teams just because it's better than getting blown out all the way.
Neutral race, that's exactly what could ask for either team. And there is, I believe that is the first Wave 6 track that we have seen in this cast and Sunshine Airport. So,
I want to see the Rainbow Road. I want to see high level Rainbow Road gameplay. I love to see it.
and to
You get to
your
see it.
wishes, the game's command, we will be playing Weibo here on Prime.
Weibo, you call it.
I have heard it called Weibo. That's how people have
I think
referred to
I
it.
think I've heard of that like way back in the Mario Kart Wii days, like 2014. But man, I haven't heard of that in so long. But I mean, I would like to see how this track is played, in these higher divisions. Just because I've not seen that much gameplay on this track in regards of like high division team play. I
Yeah,
know this track is really easy just to run on, just because it's such a long course that's really just dependent on how far you can break away from other people.
and we'll see quite a bit of that strat right there, where a lot of high level players knowing how to pull off that, uh, pulling off the Nisk, which brought back from Mario Kart Wii there. And yeah, this track is quite an interesting one to even watch how teams are going to go and play. You're exactly right. Kind of an odd track because of its length, potentially allowing for shock and or multiple blues. So there's quite a bit of potential here for this track to go either way, and we won't really know a lot until the ending of this track from
Right.
what I've seen.
We see a lot of BRE back here, but there's a bottom two for HD, which is pretty indicative of what's going to happen is maybe HE pulls shock and is able to continue for BRE to stay back here, but at the same time, like it's hard to catch up. BRE is in first with a 1-3 for BRE with triple reds in third, so second place is not going to be able to hold on for much longer. Yeah, this is looking pretty grim for HD right now, but the Blue Show is coming to shine some light onto the dishonor, I guess. um, yeah, HG's gonna take over first place with these, with BRE being 2-3, and now they just have to plot like how we can get first place out of there. That's like the most important thing. Oh, but Thomas is gonna get hit right out of there really
They're going to
easily.
get passed by a lot of HD right there. Looked like 3 or 4 HD passed them up. So even though BRE right now is 2-3, it's certainly looking like HD is everything behind that. And
Yeah, it's just the Tanuki Mario up in there. It's 1-3 for HD right now. Oh, top two for HD actually. Top 2 5 6.
can't ask for much better. Top 2, 5, 5, 7, 10, 11. HD is starting to turn the tables a little bit and starting to get some races in their favor. Definitely a good sign for them. Trying to push and change that mental to the potential match 3. That was a 10-point winning race for HD. They're now up 18 after at the halfway point. Got a good match 2 going right now.
Yeah, HD is hopefully going to be able just to carry on this into match 3. If that's possible.
See a Singapore and a Cloud Top cruise going. I think HD has been trying to pick Cloud Top here for the last couple of races, if I recall correctly. And we will see what shall commence by the game.
If the game will allow for HD to come back with their track picks or not. Nope, we're gonna go to I believe this is Singapore. Singapore.
Singapore Speedway, yes.
Speedway, yes.
This is definitely a track I have not seen in a long time picked in competitive.
I mean, I
Really,
prefer this track over Tokyo or like New
yeah,
York. Okay, pretty much any track is not as preferred as this track or Athens or LA Laps.
yeah, definitely. And this is where we get to see the no repicks really start to play out as some of the more interesting track picks that both teams. You might not know that perhaps you might not know how these teams pick and what tracks actually they may be good at. So,
Right.
and Thomas just gets owned with the red
Yeah.
off the glider and the horn right there. staying in the back. We'll probably be monitoring Dugo a little bit here.
It's just one of those things where it's like just have to just try to just be useful to your team and just by pulling shot because you're not catching up in this rate. Um, you just have to start looking out for the shot that Dougal might pull and just hopefully pull shock yourself. Yeah, start trolling Dougal a little bit, maybe get onto his mental side.
Definitely we'll see a little bit of that here. Yes.
Yeah, which it's just going to be a race for pulling shock, and with both of them back here, it's going to be really hard for them to pull shock, and especially with Thomas not missing or not getting that item box, it's going to be really good for Dugo just to be able to pull shock a lot easier than he normally would.
Definitely worth noting looking at the minimap. Lots of top spots here for BRE. I believe Cynda is in the highest spot here in third. They are holding down, BRE is holding down the fort here. There is a blue. I believe that's a second blue.
Yeah, the blue shell with the boomerang hitting over the teammates, and Cinda's going to be able to, not going to be able to pass first place here.
Not able to pass with a lag trail, and that is a lot of BRE in the top. Although that was Ryan that hit them out, and still a good race for BRE, but 3 through 5 is at least minimizes the damage a little bit. That will be a winning race for BRE here.
Yeah, BRE is going to be looking so good right now with that momentum they're going to be carrying on to the next race right here.
Definitely seeing a lot of momentum shift in this match. And a good fight, honestly, a good fight right now between the two teams. That negated the previous race for BRE. So now it's only HD up by 8. And Berlin and TikTok clock on the board. We're starting to see 8 HD continuing with the picking of drafters, and Berlin is an interesting track if we end up getting it here. We will. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a track that's actually often picked at a higher level. It's from a lower division perspective, such as myself. I don't see this track is pretty, like, almost, quite frankly, frowned upon. So but when you see a lot of high level players, this is one of those picks that you see quite often because of just the pure technicalities of this track and picking it for the skill to go against the other teams. And quite frankly, it is quite a good drafter, as we'll see. Probably not too long, we'll see a couple of HD members take a couple of top spots here. A couple of them did get hit out early, though.
That's just something you have to hope for, just because HD needs to start like making sure that BRE doesn't just win every race that they're not really good at and like they get picked for. HD just needs to establish a presence in the front. And unfortunately, Cynda is not going to be able to do much. And I think this is going to be a really good race for BRE so far, just because it's so easy just to stay in the front with BRE with triple shrooms for Thomas right here with this big cut coming up real soon. Just off the chain it just to get even more triple shrooms and have more of a breakaway. HD is in first, but it's gonna not last very long. And this random green, unfortunately, hitting Thomas, ruining his plans, or perhaps also ruining Cynda's plans along the way and Ryan's, just for fun.
Just for fun, and a lot of, BRE just holding it up here in the front. This is looking to be pretty grim here for HD at this time. Definitely going to need to bank on the shock. There's still plenty of time left in this track, but
BRE is top 4 right now, and
yeah,
that's just not anything you can really do here. HD Lee is gonna try to become the hero and try to save it, but it's gonna be really hard for him.
exactly, as we get close to the end here, ghosting right away. I cannot tell you how much I I am with Thomas here. I can't tell you how much I've hit that car before. That car is in the worst cycle possible, and that is a
Top two, bottom two for BRE. So I do think this is like an even race. So it's actually pretty good for HC for keeping their lead.
absolutely HD just continuing to hold on, and that is exactly what they need right now. That we are 2/3 of the way. There's one GP left in match 2 and a +2 race for BRE. HD leads by 6, 331 to 2. Excuse me, 331 to 325, with Water Park on the board, and waiting to see what HD might pick here. BRE winning that first match is good for them, but HD definitely putting up that fight now.
And that the LA Laps is honestly the only chance HC has to really can extend the lead, because I don't see them really doing too much on Water Park. Yeah, LA Laps is really good for HC. Hopefully they're able to really start establishing a lead, because even if they win the second match, BRE can still easily as much just win the third match, because it seems like HC is just struggling to even maintain a lead against them. So it's like, you know, are you really winning if you're not winning by a lot? Like a win by 10, it makes it seem like you only won because the circumstances were in your favor. So like, just do it again, and that's where HD might have some trouble doing. Is like winning again.
We have definitely seen that. First off, I didn't know there were coins over there, but secondly, the thing that's really interesting here is, even with HD, how well HD has been doing in this race, in this war compared to the last one, it's still the talk is still the front presence. BRE has had a phenomenal front presence. Just in this specific war here, HD has done a much better job of coming back, and that is a big deal for HD. But in order to gain significant points on BRE, they are going to need to go for they are going to need us to establish a front presence, especially in these later matches, especially in this last GP.
Right, and we see that BRE is, in the top spots right now, at least top two, maybe even top three. And HD probably doesn't have any answer towards that, because there's no shot coming anytime soon. And yeah, BRE top four, which Perez in fourth, that's impossible to really do. But the HD shock, I believe, coming up. Oh no, but BRE does dodge too.
It
Oh, it's gonna be anyone's game towards this end here.
definitely look like a couple of BRE dodging and one HD dodging in the back, but
So, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you who wins this race.
245 for HD, 7-8.
Pretty decent for HD. Just uh, if their strategy is to keep, having these like even races up until the last race where they just need to, get first and second, I can get down with that. So we'll see.
The marginal gains that they continue to have is really impressive, and we're gonna it as we start like seeing some of these options, right? And we're going to start definitely seeing some of the more unique track picks coming up. Now we see a Shy Guy Falls on the board, and Shy Guy Falls and Sunshine Airport going back to the OG track picks. That race was, excuse me,
OG is important, bro.
yeah,
The Shy Guy. Ooh, I love to see. I love Shy Guy gameplay a lot.
This is one of my favorite tracks as well to see live, and a really good, like, highly technical track here. That previous race was +4 in the favor of HD. They increased their lead by 10. Just holding on. And yeah, this should be a fun race. Establishing an early lead here. Top 2. BRE right behind, stealing that second here. So 1-3 now for HD. And definitely, if you know how to do that NISC, this track is very beneficial
100%.
for
Even, I
runners.
mean, at least for Cynda, he's just gonna be able to shroom up, real easily. Hopefully, not gonna lose too much time because of that botch shortcut, and he's gonna have to just give up first because of that red shell. That's just gonna lock down first. But with the dude, so much is happening right now. But Cynda is able to, maintain first, even throughout all that.
It looks like it's a competing for second. Looks maybe perhaps a top 2. And yeah, first was a nice break though. So see some front running gameplay here from Cynda, and it looks like there seems to be a lot of HD in the front here, and BRE is looking more in the middle. There's the blue.
Blue shells, it's not gonna do too much. He's still gonna be able to hold on to first. Oh, but never mind. With these shrooms, they're able to shroom up real fast. And this is really bad for HD because they just lost all of their presence. And Cynda's getting redded out. Oh, but the shot coming to, I believe, to save HD in some sort.
And this race just got real close, and HD in third. Top 2-4 though for BRE. So maybe now top 3. And yeah, that shock.
He's going for the safe Nisk. Um, he's gonna be able to hold down. Oh, there's so much happening, and these bombs, he can cause so much trouble. He's causing trouble. And I don't think it hit anyone though.
At least top 2, top 3 for BRE.
Oh,
And that is the race that honestly BRE needed for a little bit.
100%. That brings them right back into the lead. And now HC is gonna have to scramble for these last couple races. Right here.
It is a nail biter in match 2. That was a +20 race for BRE.
Yeah,
So
that's real bad for HD to just lose, because that's the downfall of the strategy of just like, let's just start like having even races up until the end. Like, if you lose one race, that whole strategy goes out the window, because now they have to come back to try to win a race by a huge amount to stay in it.
from one -10 to another -10, BRE takes that lead back. 2 races left, 3DS Rainbow and another Wave 6 track in PPC.
I love
And
Piranha Plant. Oh, I love to
yeah,
see it. I love to see it.
another highly technical track too. I I believe it is argued that this is one of, if not the most technical track in the game now, since its release into the Booster Course Pass.
Yeah, just because of the presence of the water physics, like that's just like another added layer into like learning this track, and that's something that a lot of people seem to forget when learning tracks, is like how much underwater physics is so different than just normal driving physics.
Absolutely, BRE already establishing a nice top 3.
Yep.
And
Easy for BRE right here, maintain their top positions, and they're just gonna just look to just run with their fast lines, and you see nothing but BRE up here. Even if that red would have done something, they still have like 3 other people to hold down the fort.
perhaps we see somebody go for this big cut here, which I believe saves
A lot.
an absurd amount of time. And we will see Lee try to make it up into first, it does look like HD is 1-3, but 2-4 for BRE, so real close at the moment.
Oh, that was such a good trail. That's like taking advantage of like, the downfalls of this game, which is the lag. It's so easy to trail people, even if they're so far ahead of you on their screen.
And
Oh, I
great
wanted,
backs from Thomas here.
yeah, I wanted to see that back work, but letting them have first is not a bad idea either, just because they're able to stay in the race still.
Especially considering that they have the horn there. And yeah, well, looks like he's throwing the red to get rid of the horn, potentially. Maybe
Yeah,
BRE has a blue.
yeah, and he's gonna just be able to red him real soon right here. Hopefully gonna be chaining into a double and hopefully pulling even more reds to get him out of first. But I do think that HE probably does have a blue shell. Just because of the way that he's deciding to play this out, to play this real safe. Yep, getting ready out of first. The blue shell is coming, and it's just a race to see, can they finish in time? And the answer is yes.
Yes, they can. I mean, that's just smart playing in second right there. And
Oh,
that is a tough race to see if you're HD. And I don't, that is going to change the tide quite a bit. BRE 1-4 through 8, bottom 4 for HD there.
and yeah, I HD needs a miracle race. Like it's highly improbable, but it's definitely doable. And maybe if they pick Big Blue, maybe it will happen. But you know,
Still hoping for that cloud top cruise from HD as BRE is going for Water Park to seal the deal. One race left in match 2. And honestly, this has been a good match. Teams are real close here. And it's impressive to see HD just to push off the real tough loss in match 1 and go here for match 2 and to make it as close as it is. And now we have Water Park, which is going to benefit going to benefit BRE right away.
yeah, being up by 28, like they need at least like a top 4 to be able to have a third match happen. But BRE is looking really, really good in the sense that plus 30 is highly just not likely at all. So I think BRE is going to be looking pretty comfortable in this track pick right here.
Absolutely. Cynda up here in first, just kind of a real close pack right now. And yeah, we see HD top 3. It's a good start for them here. And getting lag trail out there is Thomas. There is a blue out.
With this blue shell coming out, HD is going to be able to dodge it. And that's a top 3 with HD, which is the start of something great. The start of something they really do need to do. And now it's up to the rest of the teammates to really start showing presence in the front.
Really, top 2, 3 now. I think Reese is there for a minute. It's certainly now top 2, but 3-4 for BRE. And honestly, could just be playing 4-3 and 4.
That's probably the smartest thing to do. Is just like, yes, try to hit second, but like don't even worry about first place. First place does not matter if HD gets bottom 5. Like HD needs top 4 to win this, and it's not looking like that's gonna happen at all.
The blue is out. HD at least gets top 2. I think that was BRE getting third, and we see a
Bottom
black
2 for
Yoshi
HD, so
way
yeah,
back there.
yeah,
And
that's a
this
bottom 3.
is BRE's second win in 2 seasons.
Yeah, congrats to BRE for being able to just, shut down HD's potential to even like win a match. Like the fact that they're able to block out a whole match, like it's really good considering every other match for the past couple brackets have been a 2-1. So congratulations to BRE and congrats to HD for able to securing a second place in this division. Um, and yeah, it was a really, really fun match to really watch and get to see how they get to play. And it shows like Mario Kart, like BRE really does have a really good grasp on Mario Kart, and they're able just to, win with such ease.
Absolutely, and that does tie the season series, or excuse me, the final series. HD and BRE are now 2-2 in finals. So will there be a round 5 match? Well, I guess we'll have to wait till next season to find that out, huh?
Yeah,
Leave,
100%.
leave the viewers on a cliffhanger. Uh, well,
Yeah,
we will first off before we conclude. I will say thank you all so much to MKC staff and media staff. It's been an incredible season.
they do so much. Like even behind the scenes, they do so much that like people don't even know. So thank you guys.
Absolutely, and an incredible cast today by our host Michael. Thanks for an incredible job showing us the POVs, and to you, Pyrus, for being a fantastic co-caster along the way.
Of course, likewise,
And
brother.
yeah, huge appreciation. Congratulations to BRE for their second win in the same amount of seasons. From all of us here at Mario Kart Central, and my co-caster, Pyrus, my name is Travis S1. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, we will see you all later.
Bye, guys.